And happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to an 11-race edition of Woodbine Racing Live. Lisa Blow, joined by a very special guest, and I will quickly introduce him as soon as we talk about a couple of things. Now, tonight, obviously, a very busy night with baby races. We have 7 baby races coming your way, including a couple of Tompkins Greer's races on tonight's program as well, so really looking forward to that. The Fillies and Mares Open will go later on in the program, and, of course, we have those carryovers. That's the big story here tonight, with the Pick 5 carryover being well over $52,000 and the Pick 6 carryover, I got to put my glasses on to read this one. I think it's well over $4,200 for that carryover. So certainly looking forward to that. A beautiful night for horse racing action. As mentioned, 11 races in total, and now it's time to introduce my special guest. If you follow me on Twitter, then it's no surprise to see just who it is. It is the one, the only, Mr. Rick Zeron, the original OZ. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm really happy to have you because, you know, you often come into the studio to visit with us. And one of the things, well, obviously, you know, I've been doing this game for 25 years or so, so I, you know, saw a lot of you driving, especially at Woodbine. But, you know, it's important for me on a big night like tonight when we have so many baby races to bring in somebody who has, you know, some inside information, the information that the bettors want to hear about how these horses are training coming in. You can talk to us about pedigrees on the horses as well. I think you bring a lot of value to tonight's show, so thanks for coming in and helping me out.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll do my best.
Okay, now quickly, before we get into the handicapping, because believe me, I'm going to put his feet to the flames tonight. We've got lots of replays to show you. We've got lots of horses to discuss on tonight's program, and Mr. Z has a horse in to compete tonight as well. But one of the things I like the most is when you come in to visit, if it's, you know, me and Randy or me and John or whoever it is, you're always very honest with us about what's going on with the horse, and we're able to pass that information along to the bettor. That's very helpful.
Well, we'll do our best.
We will do our best.
We'll do our best.
Hey, how'd the kid do today?
Very good.
Very good?
Who, Scotty?
Yeah.
I think Joyce said he had 4 wins today.
Yeah.
At Chester in a couple of seconds and a few thirds. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Did you know, I mean, obviously you have a whole bunch of successful children, and that's like a prize in itself, right? That you would have all these kids who have gone on to be so successful in their careers. They live all around the world, and you go and visit them all the time, so that keeps you really busy. But when he was a youngster, I remember him with his braces and his briefcase coming to the racetrack, and, you know, you would hand him the whip and he would make the Z sign. Did you know he was guaranteed to be a horseman?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know why? He was devoted.
Yes.
He was serious about it. We were serious about him going through college, getting all of that done. And he completed that, but in the meantime, he still drove at night, and he was very serious. He told me when he was 12 years old he wanted to be a driver. I says, well, Dad will teach you whatever I know.
When did you know, for you, that you wanted to be a driver?
When I was poor, I needed to be a driver.
But when did you know? What was it that kind of hooked you into the game of horse racing, and you said, you know what, I could make a career out of this?
Well, it's quite a many years ago, but no, I knew. I had a good instinct with horses, and I got along very well with horses, and I enjoy doing it, and I still enjoy doing it. But back then, I said, you know what, this is a good way to make a living. I don't have to sit behind a desk. I don't have to take orders from anybody. I can run my own operation, and that's the route that I took.
Listen, you were a pretty popular catch driver back in the day. What would you say were some of your top skills as a driver? And it's okay to talk about yourself in a positive way here, of course.
Well, I really pushed myself to be as best I could with a trotter, because a trotter is it's a natural gait. It's not a pacer. You put the hobbles on, the way you go. A trotter is a natural gait, and I thought if I could conquer that feat, then I thought I had a pretty good shot.
Did anybody ever say to you that your size might have been an issue? Did anybody ever come up to you and say, you know, you should have been a jockey?
No, not really.
No, not really. Because I kind of think about you being, at that time, being one of the smaller guys out there driving. Did it give you a bit of an advantage?
Yeah, well, there was Trevor Ritchie.
Yes,
small.
that's true.
Myself, you know.
Roger Mayotte.
Roger Mayotte, yeah. Quite a few drivers were small, but there was a lot of, there were more today than there was back when I was starting out. Taller people.
Tall, yeah.
Now
do you
there's a
notice
lot of
that?
tall drivers that are
Yeah,
coming
like,
into
things have really changed since
Yes.
you started driving. You know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
bikes have obviously changed
Oh,
a lot.
everything's changed.
You know, the helmets have changed. Everything has changed. Are you happy, I guess, or satisfied with the time that you had to drive and what you were provided with as far as equipment was concerned? Like, would you want to trade places and be a young driver today, or are you very satisfied with when you were at your peak?
No, I'm quite satisfied through my career. You know, I got over 8,100 wins. I'm happy with what I've done, what I've accomplished, and back in the early days, I'll say the early days. The horses weren't that fast.
No.
You had to be on your pin, because if you weren't on your point all the time, well, you're going to get in an accident, and that was inevitable.
Well, and then when you were driving too, you would have had to drive at so many fairs, right, before you were allowed to get your license. And I'm sure you have some war stories from those days
Oh,
too.
there's a few of them, yeah. South Mountain Fair
Brails.
and all that. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, back in Ottawa. Oh yeah, yeah.
And then just quickly too, before we get into the handicapping, you have wonderful daughters that are incredibly successful.
Very.
Did you want to keep them off of the racetrack, or were you encouraging them if they wanted to take a step behind you? That was fine as well.
No, after 10 years old, they weren't allowed to come to the track anymore. Just my son.
Yep. Just
They could come to the barn and they could look after the horses.
Right.
And like Jade, my youngest daughter, she would come and brush the horses off, and she had her own little. We got her own little
Kit.
suitcase with the brushes and the curry combs and the hoof picks and that, and Jennifer, she did too. Jerica, she did as well. But Jade really liked it when she was younger.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it does instill so much great work ethic,
Yes.
right? And in your adulthood, boy, does that ever come in handy. I think kids today need to go work in a barn a little bit, don't
They
you?
do. They have to get off the iPad, get off the TV, get off the couch, and go get a job and come out to the farm and look after horses.
Yeah.
They love, once they get out to the farm, look after horses, they'll love it.
That's true. But I've found too, with the kids that'll show up at the barn where I am, they don't realize just how much work it is.
Oh, it is a lot of work.
Are we done yet?
Yeah,
No.
no. We still have 3 hours left.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Rick is going to help us out with all these baby races tonight, which is just such a big help for me. And as I mentioned, you have a horse on tonight's program. You had a nice winner on
Yes.
the card yesterday as well, Stocks and Bonds.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. But we wanted to show you a quick qualifier. This has nothing to do with the handicapping for tonight, but just a quick qualifier from this morning. Rick just happened to have a horse in this qualifier. And what's significant about it? Well, it's a Moticon Legacy. And a Moticon Legacy, of course, hasn't been seen since October the 25th when competing in the Breeders' Crown Final. This is a horse who's gone on to make over $1.5 million in their career. And obviously, we're getting ready to go to the races.
Yeah, that horse was quite well in hand today. I finished second with Tricky Trish, and but he was well in hand. Bobby was with this, and that horse looked really good today.
Well, and even your horse finishing second in a qualifier to a monster like that is going to look
that's a
good
bonus.
as well.
That's a bonus.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're going in the right direction
You
with her.
certainly are. Alrighty, we're going to start first with the third race on tonight's program. So everybody watching at home, let's open her up to race number 3 on the card. This is the first baby race on the card. So we have young boys competing in here, nominators of 1 or 10-5 life. And we have a field of 9 that will go postward. So we're looking at pacers, and I know your love is trotters, but obviously you've had your share of pacers. What is it about pacers? Is it just a little bit more frustrating, do you find sometimes?
It's 6 of one, half of the other. You know, there's less. Well, at this track here, there's as many trotters as there is pacers.
True.
But at any other track, there's less trotters than pacers.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
Okay, so I know you didn't get a chance necessarily to see some of these horses compete, but I want to show you a replay and get your thoughts from a driver's perspective and your thoughts from a trainer's perspective on a horse by the name of Kerplunk. So let's set this replay up for you. This is last Friday night. Now, I put this horse up on top last Friday because there was a little bit of buzz.
Okay.
You know, and when there's a little bit of buzz, I'm thinking, oh, the whole barn's interested in playing this horse.
Yeah.
So let's roll the replay for Kerplunk from back on July the 3rd. Now, Kerplunk is going to be in the top spot here. He's the 4, and you can also see it here too if you want to, Rick. So he's the 4 on the outside. You see Trevor just giving him a couple of good taps.
Yeah.
Now right here, I thought, okay, we're going to push the button and we're going to go.
Yeah.
But he ends up getting defeated by a horse called T.H. Benedict, who was a upsetter on the program, was at a bit of a price. I still think he paced really well here. He ended up coming home in 27 and 4. You know, there was that chatter about him. Put yourself in Trevor's shoes, put yourself in Terry Gallant's shoes, and give me some thoughts on this one.
Well, the colt that beat it is a cattle wash colt.
Right.
That James went with. I watched him train all winter over at the Classy Lane. Tony O'Sullivan trains that horse. And he looked like a good colt from the day that they put the harness on him till that race right there. Trevor's Henry's horse, he raced very well because if you look at it, he went to the front out of the 4-hole in 27. And he's come back to 27. You really can't get anything more to ask a horse to do more than that in his first lifetime start. So I think the horse, if he would have been covered up until the head of the lane, like second over or something like that, I think this horse would have got back to the winner's circle.
Okay, so here's the thought too. Now, obviously the horse has qualified a couple of times with Trevor, so he knows the horse.
Yeah.
But now it's race time. You know, we're under the lights, different scenario. It's not the morning, it's the evening. Really, I think what you want the most sometimes as a trainer is a positive experience. That's a positive experience, right?
Yep, that was a positive experience that he had right there. Unfortunately, he had to come first up, but the colt didn't let go and fall backwards.
Right.
The colt kept going straight forward.
Right.
And I spoke with Terry Gallant last night, matter of fact, and he
Good.
told me, he says, this could be the best colt that he's ever trained.
See, that's what I had heard as well.
Yeah.
And there was actually a YouTube video that was out kind of following this horse and his progression. And, you know, that's exactly what Gallant said. And then you're thinking to yourself, like, again, putting yourself in the horse person's shoes, like, ooh, did I just kerplunk this by saying that?
Yeah.
But, you know, I think we're not going to give up on him just from what we saw there at all.
No, that's just an isolated incident. Trevor will correct this, and that colt will be way much better tonight.
And that was a gold as well for
and
his debut.
Well, you're going for nothing in 2 qualifiers, and everybody's just giving their horses learning experience. Get them behind the gate, get them in the field instead of going with 2 or 3 horses training on the farm. You're in with 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 horses in the race, and get them used to that. And then you put them in the race, and of course you're going for $100,000. Well, everybody races different. Okay, there's no taking your time going around the track. You're going. You want the 50,000.
Sure.
That's what you want.
Did you think the times last Friday were really fast?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought people were pretty much gunning it out there.
Well, I don't know about gunning it, but I know that the breeding has escalated
It has.
very, very well from 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, and that's changed the times dramatically.
Of course it does, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So race number 3 on the program. Again, this Kerplunk horse is the direction I'm going to go. You sent in selections for tonight, didn't you?
Yes.
Who'd you pick in here?
I picked the 2 horse in here.
And why? What is it about this Paul Davies horse?
He looked, I didn't watch him race, but on the card here, he didn't really get going off the gate very well. He dropped back 50, he basically come first over in the condition race, and he come 27 and 2, and then he come 26 and 3, and win in 55 and 4, or finish second in 55 and 4,
Right.
but looked very, very under a nice looking colt.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's another, it's kind of a simple question. I know the answer to this, but I guess a horse is telling you at a certain point it's time to geld him.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that either, but I mean, I guess at some point you think, oh, maybe I have the next cattle wash on my hands, so once you take those off, they can't go back on.
No. If I have a brood mare, I'll go back to cattle wash and breed them to cattle wash. I don't need to breed it to anybody else. Thank you very much. Yeah, Doc, relieve him of his weight behind and his 2 back legs. Take those off.
Take those off and throw them on the roof.
Absolutely.
Do they still throw them on the
over on the
roof?
top of the barn? Yeah.
All righty, over we go to race number 4. Fourth race is where we kick off the pick 6. Now that has a carryover of more than $4,200. Now this is your territory. These are trotters, young trotters, and again we have a field of 10. And we're going to look back at some replays. I did want to talk about King of the South, and we are going to show you that replay. But the thing is, Okay, I have a whole bunch of questions for you here. So the first question, and this one actually comes courtesy of my co-host up at Woodbine, that being Jeff Brad. He said, "Here's what I want you to ask Rick." He said, "How do you know if a horse is a grassroots horse or a gold horse? How do you know when you've only qualified?"
Well, the driver or the trainer?
Give it to me from the trainer's perspective.
Well, the trainer knows what he's got. Okay, unless something little thing will happen when you bring him in after the first qualifier, the second qualifier, and then he goes into a regular race, and all of a sudden he becomes more aggressive. He wants to pass horses. He wants to be a leader. He wants to go by them coming down the lane, other than going in the two baby races, the qualifying races. It's just training
and
at the racetrack.
And you see that aggressiveness kind of come up.
Well, you'll see the will. You have the will. You have the heart and the lungs,
the determination to get it done.
I can tell you if how they're gonna be over the winter and in the springtime, and then after a qualifier maybe. But then after the second qualifier, you get, geez, I don't know. I think he's getting a little bit better. And then you race him once, you go, was I ever wrong about this colt?
Right.
He's a pretty good horse.
He's a pretty good horse, or it could go the other direction
well,
too.
I got one this race tonight that was like that too.
Okay, and we are going to look at those.
Yeah.
All right. Who's the hottest trotting sire right now, as far as you're concerned?
I'd say Green Manalishi.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much here in Canada.
Yeah, in Canada. And what do you think of these King of the North that you've seen so far?
They're showing up.
Yeah, they are showing up.
I think the fillies are showing up more than the colts. But the King of the North will be very successful here in Canada.
That's a really good tip too, that you think the fillies are showing up more than the boys right now. And that happens
for me as a trainer.
I agree though. Yeah.
They want to go more.
Right.
They enjoy going out there and doing their work.
Yeah, good.
Some of the, like you said, some of them still have the weight on the back legs, in between the back legs. Now, if that was taken away, they may have the same attitude as the fillies.
I agree with you. All right, now let's look at this replay from King of the South. Now, this is a King of the North, so a gelding that we're looking at here, and this is the very first lifetime start. Now, this is this is quite a ways back. This is June the 26th, so they've been able to give this horse a little bit of time in between. Scott McInerney's the trainer. Over 50-1 on this day, and we're picking on Trevor Henry again. Trevor's doing the driving on this horse, and I thought, from what I saw here when I watched this replay, like a determined horse, nice little closing effort from him, and has his listening to Trevor, I guess I could say.
Yeah. No, Trevor did the right thing going right there, because the horse was sitting first and second. They stayed right beside each other, and he come from almost fourth in between, and kept on going, and he stayed right with them right up to the finish line, where the rest of them faded off a little bit. So I like this colt.
You do. Is this the one that you put in the top spot here, or did you go elsewhere?
I went with the two horse in this race.
All right, so we all went kind of the same direction in this race.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to ask you another interesting question, because this comes up, people will ask me this. So Chris Matthews drives the one horse for his first lifetime start. He's the trainer of the horse. So I'm looking at it, from a handicapper's angle, and maybe looking at it from a bit of a trainer's angle, and saying to myself, all right, we're just going to go around tonight. Tonight is just an education night. Yeah. And then when I see him switch to Dougie, that's when I know it's time to play, because I kind of assume that Doug's going to get the call for anything that's going to be a Chris Matthews horse. Now, he had a broken Buxton in his first lifetime start. Okay, so you get that. Maybe not as bad as throwing a shoe.
Easy excuse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me that when you see the trainer driving the horse pass them over to the catch driver, that maybe it's a bit of a go time?
Well, Chris does a great job.
Yes, he does.
Okay, he's a great trainer. Okay, been with Greg McNair as long as I can remember, and he's a great guy. But he's also a good trainer and a good conditioner. He probably went with this colt to make sure that everything was fine with him.
Right.
And now that he's got him going the right way, like he made a little bit of a break his last start, but he had the rail, and it's the worst spot for a 2-year-old trotter, filly or colt, leave today, in behind the gate. But to put Dougie on him, he's going the right direction.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too.
Chris doesn't have a problem with getting off the bike and putting Dougie on.
That's right. And that's another thing, I guess, for a trainer, is to know when it's time to hand the lines over to somebody else. Not everybody knows that, right?
No, no. Well, I know that.
You know that now. You
Yeah.
know that now.
Yeah.
And I do have some questions about drivers that you're using and how you come up with that.
Yeah.
Because if you are in the thoroughbred game, you got jocks coming around.
Yeah.
You let them get on the horse, maybe breeze the horse, kind of get a feel. But what you're really looking for is that matchup, right?
Yeah.
Where they click together.
Yeah.
And trying to find the right person that's going to click with that horse and their quirks, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Then again, you look at Trevor Henry.
Yeah.
You see him bring any pacers in here to race?
Nope.
I rest my case.
All of you guys, all of you guys, as everybody matures, they all want to move over to trotters. Why?
Well, they're safer.
Okay.
As you get older,
yeah,
they
because
don't fall
I
down
was
because they
told
don't
you
have
no more
nothing wrapped
pacers.
around their legs, so they're safer to be out there.
There is something though about driving a good trotter, isn't there?
Oh, it's so nice.
It feels
it's so
so
gratifying.
different.
So gratifying when you win a big race with a trotter. Brings tears to your eyes.
Oh yeah, yep. Here's Rick's selection. So he has gone with the 2 in the top spot. See the board, Rick? It's got a lovely picture of you and then all your selections up there beside it. Okay. So now everybody can get mad at you if you don't pick enough winners on
I
tonight's
know.
program.
Oh yeah.
Just turn the phone off when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
on the way home.
Yeah, yeah.
Over we go to race number 5. Now, here's where we kick off some Tompkins Greer's action. And you were saying to me that the horse that you had win last night, Stocks and Bonds, might be pointed in the direction of the Tompkins Greers, so that's always exciting. First here, over $71,000. You get a field of 11. And I went towards this I'm Sweet on Lou from the Fellows barn. I just... Everything that Fellows touches when it comes to babies is just doing so well. But my question for you, again, as a trainer, is how do you know when a baby is ready to go off one qualifier versus 2?
Well, it all depends on how many times that he's trained him in 2 minutes or 58 or 56 or 57.
Yeah.
That's where I think a lot of the people that train down in Florida have a little bit there. I always put it at they're 3 weeks ahead of us.
Right.
When they come back up north because they've had the warm weather and the horses when they start to get going faster, get the warm weather into them, they excel a lot more.
I would agree with you on that one as well. I think any Florida horse has a massive advantage, especially after the winter we had this winter.
Yes.
Right? Where, we probably missed quite a bit of training.
Yeah, like
How does-
Siberia.
Yeah, exactly. We had to wear the mink quite a bit this winter.
Yeah.
But how do we read into driver selections? So, for example, Bob McClure, right? He drove this 3 horse last start out for Fellows. He's going to drive the Determination horse in here. He had driven Charleroi Cattle, the horse for Dave Maneri. When I look at it, I go, well, it's Determination. That's why he went that direction.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all.
And that's all.
That's
so you
all.
don't really need to read into these things
No.
where he's just picking the better horse.
No.
He is picking the barn that's going to give him some pretty big winners.
I agree 100% when Determination, Serge Godin goes down and spends $7 or $9 million for babies. You kind of slide over to his farm and go with his horses early in the year to see what you have in July.
Exactly, yeah, because this one alone
You know what you call that? Taking care of your business.
That's right. And this one was purchased for $333,000, so I can understand the move there. But I wanted to go and show you this replay. So this is I'm Sweet on Lou, a Sweet Lou filly, and this is the Fellows horse. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this is the filly who had just the one qualifier and then came into the races. But we know a guy like McNair goes down south. We know Moore goes down south. I think Fellows sticks around here, does he not?
He does.
Yeah. So he had this one primed and ready to go. And I was impressed by this victory too, Rick, because I thought this was workmanlike.
Yes. With Rob Fellows' horse.
Yes.
Did you see what he come his last half in? 54 and 3.
Yeah. Nice little horse.
Very nice. I don't know how little he is, but I do know one thing. And not only that, it's a little bonus for them too because they bred that horse.
Exactly. So they get breeders' awards as well and all that good stuff.
Well, that too, but it's when you breed your own your mare, you know all about it. You know your
Sure
family.
do. You know, yeah. And I think you're, you see the quirks come out from the mare sometimes, and you're like, oh, she passed that on to that baby.
Exactly. Yeah, the quirks that come out of them. And not only that, but it's really gratifying when you have a mare that you breed and you bring it along and you put it in behind the gate and go, I made the right decision
That's
breeding
right.
that mare.
That's right. Absolutely. Because I don't think necessarily people understand sometimes just how much work goes into, we call it nicking, nicking, finding the right sire to go to that mare. And especially if you're maybe looking at new sires
Yeah.
as well. Like you're
Yeah.
really taking a shot because you just don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
All right. So who'd you go to here, buddy?
I went to the 3.
Oh, you went to the Fellows horse. All right, good stuff. So, yeah, and they have had a really good season with this one. Jody Jameson is going to be doing the driving with the 3. So you went 3, 8, 4, and 5 using that determination. I put the determination horse in as well. I mean, for $300,000, I'm actually kind of excited to see just what she looks like out on the track.
Yeah, the only problem with this race here is Dougie was down on 2 of them in here.
Makes
And
sense.
he went to the 8 horse.
Right.
And that's how Jody picked up the 3 horse. So obviously, I think Dougie thinks that the 8 horse is the better horse than the 3 horse.
Right. And so that's a different handicapping angle than looking at Bob McClure's decision.
Yeah, and when you're going for 71,000, and it comes from the same stable, you take the one you think is the best.
Exactly.
And that's who I have picked for second is the 8 horse.
All right, good stuff. Okay, that is race number 5 on the program. Let's go to the 6th. We're on the trot again in race number 6 to kick off the late pick 5. We are scratching the 1. The 1 is out, so that gets us down to a field of 8. And I've written down a million questions to ask you because I want to pick your brain, especially on trotters. So how do you know when you got to put the trotting hobbles on?
Well, it all depends on where you're training. Like I train at Classy Lane, which is a 7/8 mile track. And if they can't get around the turn there, I go right to my equipment shed and I get the hobbles, put the hobbles on them, and I keep them on them until one day I take them off and they can go around the turns.
Yeah, you really have to almost trust them in order to take them off, correct?
Yes.
And do you find sometimes it's just a crapshoot, for lack of a better word?
No, what I do is I put the trotting hobbles on them. I try with the half hobbles on them, the belly hobbles, and see how they go. And if that doesn't work, then I put the trotting hobbles that's hooked to the bike, which is a little more tension, a little more tension on it. And the more that I think that they don't need those hobbles, I'll let the hobbles out a hole, then another hole, and another hole till
Right.
I think they're just sitting on there, just making noise.
Right.
They're not doing anything anymore, and then I'll try taking them off.
How about braking? Braking is obviously a big issue with young trotters.
Yeah.
What do you do to try to make this not become a habit?
Well, I'm very strong. I'm wearing bell boots on my babies when they start training, and I have different weights of bell boots. And the ones that aren't picking their feet up and putting their feet forward, then I'll put a heavier pair of bell boots on them.
Right.
Instead of putting a heavy shoe on them, I'll put a heavy bell boot on him. And then when I see that he's making that right front feet going forward the right way, then I'll take that bell boot off and I'll put a lighter pair of bell boots on him until the point is that he doesn't need those.
Right.
And hopefully by that time, you've got him so that he's not making breaks anymore because he's getting his front feet out of the way before the back feet get there.
I like that. Okay, that's really good to know. Really great information. All right, I'm going to show you a replay from a qualifier. And the reason I'm showing you this is simply because of that question that I just asked Rick. You know, we had Kings, Crown, and Coke who made a break in his race on June the 29th and then, of course, went back to kindergarten on July the 4th. Now, in that qualifier, we also had Aaron Wood Cosmo, who is the 8 horse in tonight's race. Just watch them coming down the stretch. What I thought was interesting here is first we had a bad breaker up in front, and I don't think that bothered Aaron Wood Cosmo at all. I mean, this horse looks like he is totally focused in on the job at hand. But then the effort from this King's Crown and Coke is very good, just to kind of shoot through late, and makes you kind of wonder if tonight this 9 horse is set up for a good one.
He could be. He could be. It's the horses that I picked in this race is the 8, the 9, and the 7.
Good. So we're on it. We just showed you the 8
so
and the
we're
9.
We're on the same
it.
page.
We're
Okay, we're on the same page. Now, saying that, those are the 3 worst positions other than the one that you can go in behind the gate with tonight. Travis Cullen, Scott Young, James McDonald are going to have to figure all of those little twerks to get out of a bad spot leaving the gate, because if they don't get up where they're going to be, they're not going to go enough fast fractions that they're not going to gain any ground.
Do you think the 7's going for the front end?
Well, I'm not quite sure whether the 7's going to go for the front end, but he's going to definitely leave. Okay, he's got the 6 hole now.
Right.
Because the 1 horse is scratched.
Everybody moves in a notch.
Yeah, and I think the 7, 8, and the 9 horse are all going to be sitting probably 1, 2, 3.
You know, I looked at the race exactly the same as you, and I thought I prefer the outside horses to the inside horses in here, and they just are hindered with those outside draws.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing you can do about it, right?
Not really. That's the luck of the draw.
That's exactly right. Okay, let's go over to race number 6. Sixth race, we're back on the pace. More Tompkins Greer's action for you, and a field of 9. Now, here's where we find Doc Moore loaded for bear. And this is exactly where that discussion about being down in Florida, especially over this winter, gives, I think, horses like Moore's horses a huge edge. You know, I guess the thing on that for me, Rick, is, you know, horses here probably miss some training because of the cold weather.
Oh, yeah.
Do you really want to send them out when that track is rock hard frozen? Aren't you just asking for splints?
Not only splints, you're going to break them down because their knees aren't closed
yet.
You know, and you're going to get them suspensories. You're going to have them have cracked bones in their knees. No, we lost a month last winter.
We sure did. Now, explain that to people, too, because people don't understand if they're not a horse person. They're just, you know, you're an average fan that's just picking up a program. What do you mean by their knees not being closed?
Well, that's how they're developed. There are 3 sections. It's the same as a child. When they're born, they're wide open, the knees. And then slowly, as you train them down and you don't overexert them, then everything closes right up. Right. And especially if they're growing.
Yes.
And getting fed properly and getting a vitamin supplement in their feed every day. And you know, you have the vet come in. Doc Hennessy comes, he's my vet on call. And Doc will come in and have a look and say, just slow down a little bit with this colt. His knees aren't closed right up right yet. I said, you know, Doc, I think he's sore in his knees. Well, slow down a little bit. And
exactly.
Give him a couple weeks.
And you don't know that unless you X-ray either, right? To see that they're closed.
Well, definitely, you know. Well, John, he can look at it.
Well, he's seen enough knees in his lifetime.
John's the best.
All right, well, let's look at this mascarpone. I'm going to show you a couple of replays. We can watch them and we can keep chatting. So both of these are Doc Moore's horses. Now, he's got 3 in this race. He's got the 3, the 4, and the 6. Now, mascarpone is the first one we're going to look at. $80,000 London Classic yearling sale. And this was the second qualifier. Now, the first qualifier was a bit of a mess. Looks like he suffered some interference. But they put him right up on the front end on June the 27th. And this is a pretty swanky effort. I mean, he wins by almost 10 in 54-2, came home in 27-2. All signs kind of point to yes, with him being the real deal.
Well, I think both the Doc's horses or colts are in here are the real deal. But the colt got interfered with and still come home in 27-2. Okay, went a mile in 56-4. So obviously he told James, get out of harm's way, and let him be up in the front end. Let him finish coming for home. Doc likes his horses on the front end or sitting in the 2-hole.
Okay, well, here's another one.
Yeah, Doc doesn't like his horses sitting back because if the fractions don't go right, you can come the last quarter in 27 seconds and you still finish 4th.
Okay, well, here's the other horse that I wanted to show. This is the other Doc Moore horse. This is Shalom Hanover, exactly the same trip.
Yeah, exactly. And he was both times. Ian went the first time with him, and then the second time Louis went with him, and he went 28, 28, 28, 27. Okay, 1 mile and 54, and looked really good. So I think those 2 horses are really good that are in here, and the one that I'm going to pick first is the one that James is driving because he was down on 3 horses in this race and he took Doc Moore's.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the way I went too. So I went 3-6. Is that where you?
That's what
did it?
I went 3-6-1-4.
Perfect. All right. So race number 7. We're seeing our selections here. I want to get over to race number 8 because. This is the race that you're in. And, you know, we obviously say this to people. If you've got a horse in the race, we don't want you to make selections because you could pick against your own horse and next thing you know, you win and we're all in trouble. Yeah. But I wanted to show both the replays for this guy, the Italian job.
So I changed his name.
What was his name originally?
Senior Pilot.
Oh, I changed his name too.
I said, I got to change this poor colt's name. And he was a colt at the time. Now he's a gelding.
No.
So now he's the Italian job.
Exactly. I like that way better.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So we're going to show the first qualifier. And while we're showing the first qualifier, I wanted to ask you a couple of things. So let's roll this first qualifier. This is back on June the 12th. What did you ask JD to do in this qualifier?
Go around and give him some education.
Right.
That's all. Don't beat him up. Just let him go where he wants to go. And he said that he couldn't. He was in the 4-hole. And he says, Rick, he says, I had to move him in the last turn. And he's looking at me. He says, I had to move him in the last turn. I couldn't. They were going too slow. I said, that's okay. I says, was he all right? Well, he said, I didn't really say anything to him. I just moved him and let him go where he wanted to go. And I said, well, he's starting to become a surprise for me, I said, because he was a project.
It was he.
One week he would train good. Next week he would jump all over the place, you know. And it took 3 months or more to get the stud out of him after I cut him.
Yeah, that happens.
You know,
Yep.
and we took our time and we just made sure that everything was all right with him before we got going. But here,
The second qualifier.
the second qualifier, he comes off a cover, and this is what he really impressed me, because the horse that was on front, he was going a pretty good clip, and I'm thinking to myself, geez, I think we're coming last quarter 28 or better, and I wasn't quite sure that the clock was right. And when I phoned up and they said, no, the clock's right.
That's a pleasant surprise.
And Jonathan just tapped him twice with the whip and away he went. And he loves doing his job now.
Right.
But
Yeah.
when we went through February, March, and a little bit halfway through of April, Dean Lockhart owns a piece of the colt with me, and he phones me up and he says, how's the Italian job? I went, well,
Yeah. Hit and miss. Right?
sometimes good, sometimes bad, you know. And then when he watched him race his first time, he goes, colt looked good. I said, yeah. He texted me the second time, colt looked better. So I think that the stud is out of him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's a nice big colt when I bought him. He was a nice sized
Well,
colt.
that was my next question is, what was it about him? You know, do you look at the catalog first and then you pick out the horses, or do you look horses first and then look at the catalog?
No, I look at the catalog, pick the horses out, and then I go.
Yeah.
I always ask Scotty, my son, what's the next sire coming up?
Right.
He says, Daddy says, I really think Captain Corey's going to be a real nice stud.
And so when you went to see him, every trainer's different when they buy horses. What is it that you're looking for? What do you want to see?
Well, he stood properly, stands right, nice. He had a lot of ribs. I like to have a horse with a little extra rib on him. I don't like a small one, because then they'll get interfering with themselves. He had the right build that I liked.
Right. Yeah. Everybody's got their own thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people like to watch him walk.
Yeah.
you know,
Oh no, absolutely. Make him run.
Yeah, that kind of deal. But you know what? You're the first person that's ever said to me that they're looking for ribs, extra rib cage,
I want an extra rib cage on either pacer or trotter.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you have a type.
Yeah.
Everybody has a type.
You get a small pacer, he's going to crossfire and interfere with himself. Where if he's got a longer body,
Yep.
and he's not going to do that.
Exactly. And I did notice, you know, on some of the horses that I saw last week, a lot of them were bigger than smaller.
Oh yes.
You know,
Oh,
for 2-year-olds.
They're getting to be a lot bigger 2-year-olds.
There's not a
now.
2-year-old that looks like a 2-year-old
No,
anymore. They
not
look like
really.
4 and 5-year-olds.
No.
All right, let's go to race number 10. This is the final baby race of the night and an Ontario Sire Stakes event. And in this spot, we have Great White North, who's a King of the North. We keep talking about these King of the Norths. Etzel's got a pretty interesting horse in Aaronwood Triton. This one has raced and won with Travis Henry doing the driving. Now, I wanted to go back and do the replay from Great White North. This was, I thought, a pretty nice effort from the horse in the first lifetime start. So there was just the one qualifier, and then the horse races on July the 3rd. Now, this is a condition race. I don't think Mike Keeling's got a ton of horses in the barn.
Who?
Mike Keeling, the trainer.
No.
So, you know, maybe focusing in on more young horses, and looks like we got a nice one. So let's roll this replay. So this is back July 3rd again, and it's Bob McClure, who drove the horse in the qualifier, and then Bob drove him in this race as well. But he's not anywhere close to the front end, and he's really starting to make up some ground here in this spot. You're going to see a really good late kick from him, and what I was most impressed about was how he raced late in the event. He came home in 27 and change. Final time there, 58. Honcho, the winner, no one was getting near him. So to finish second to him, I thought was a good one.
And seen who was coming, and which was fine. He never took the whip off his back.
It's Honcho
Dougie.
leading. Great White North continues to
Bob's
close
horse
up the
probably
inside.
is
Honcho's
leaking
gonna
in
have
a
to
little
pick
bit.
it
That's
up,
why I went to
and
the inside
Honcho
instead of the
just
outside.
lines
It could be
up.
burying it a little
High
bit.
water neck. It's Honcho in front of Great White
But Bob's
North
colt looked
in
good.
I like him.
Healing's colt looked good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, what kind of like again? I think what he showed you is he's a little brave. Like he went up in, but up the rail.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I really am fascinated with babies, and because you just don't know what you have, right? You have an idea.
Well, you have a really good idea. I would say you would have 75% of a real good idea of what you have got by the time you get ready to race. And the other 25% is God's gift as a surprise.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
what you're looking going, yes!
Right? Because you could have a $5,000 stallion
Oh, yeah.
and he's a superstar.
Yep.
You can have $1 million and you're never going to find him.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So you just don't really. Like,
we watched years ago, two of them. One sold for $1 million to Trotter,
right?
Damien, and the other one was Maverick that sold for $1.1 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing the price that horses are going for now, isn't it?
Oh,
When
yeah.
you go down to the sales,
Yeah.
it's serious business.
Oh, yeah.
To get into the breeding business now. And actually, speaking of breeding business, I didn't even have this to talk about, but our breeders just got a big push.
Good.
Right, with
Very
the new money that's
Yep.
coming in from the government, so
Yep.
that's always great because for people like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
it's incentive to breed here, and it's great incentive to bring new owners into the game, which is really important.
Not only that, but the breeders now can go out and go get a couple better mares,
Yes.
younger mares,
Yes,
better
yeah.
bred mares
Yeah.
to stand in Ontario. That's
Well-
the biggest problem that I think my personally.
Well, you know what the worst thing was when all the slots at racetrack program ended.
Yes.
All the good mares left.
Of course, why wouldn't you?
Right, exactly. And so now we get a chance to rebuild that program.
That's the one.
Yeah,
Rebuild
very
it back up. Yeah,
Because we really do have a great program here.
absolutely. We have a great program in Canada.
We
Yeah,
do, and
great.
now we have even
Or
more.
Ontario.
Yeah.
Ontario, we have a great program.
Exactly. Now you're going to stick around and help me out?
I'm going to help you out all night.
I think that's going to be fantastic.
I hope so.
More with Rick. Rick's got selections for us throughout the night tonight. We're going to pick his brain, watching horses warm up on the track, see what he thinks about it from a good thing from a driver's perspective and from a trainer's perspective and even from an owner's perspective as well. So we'll get a little bit of everything from you tonight. I really am happy that you've decided to join us. Yeah. Thank you very much for your insight.
I'm happy to be here.
How many winners you got?
I hope so. I hope 5.
Five is a good.
5 is a bonus.
That 5 would be great.
Yeah.
5 winners promised from Rick Zeron. I will try for 5 as well. Race number 1 is going to come up for us shortly. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Rick and I will break down the field for race number 1.